Universitas Indonesia.
Today we would like to present our findings entitled
The implementation of public-private partnership SIM on the Kereta Cepat Jakarta-Bandung project.
To fulfill our assignment of Evaluasi Proyek dan Pengambilan Keputusan course. So, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Dahayu Nandira.
My name is Dyah Ayu Febriani.
My name is Hisyam Hidayat.
My name is Syarif Amr Hasyemi.
My name is Vanessa.
So, without any further ado, let's get started!
Procurement of Kereta Cepat Jakarta-Bandung, or here we'll call it as KCJB for the rest of this video, is a procurement of goods. Speaking of goods, there's always a dilemma on who's supposedly to hold the responsible for this procurement, especially when it concerns the public needs. Generally, when it comes to public needs, the one that usually responsible for this kind of procurement is the public sector. The sector usually have this kind of responsibility written down on their constitution, especially the state constitution. Like in Indonesia, the opening of Indonesian constitution is written down as memajukan kesejahteraan umum. That means to promote the social welfare. When it comes to personal or organizational motive itself, the public sector here usually and supposedly to put their motive on fulfilling their duty or to serve the people. But the government itself, especially in developing countries like Indonesia, there's a lot of limitation and weaknesses when it comes to procurement, especially when it came on the larger scale. The answer on limitation and weaknesses that we will discuss here will be based on the Robert Danso and Otori Kuragu founding on 2014. Here the first limitation obviously come on the financial limitation. We can see this limited capability especially when it comes to APBN or government yearly spending plan and the GDP. For example, Indonesian, the APBN, which is only 158.6 billion USD, only cover less than 20% of their GDP, which is 1.042 trillion USD. This limitation obviously show that the government probably will need an external funding when it comes to large scale or massive scale project. Next limitation here is the technological capabilities. Usually the government or the public sector in developing world is rarely to having an up-to-date or newest technology. This also came from their financial limitation, which hinder them from buying the latest technological component. For example, when it comes to smart city, many local government in Indonesia doesn't have a sufficient technology. This limitation push the local government to cooperate with some external organization that having that kind of technology that they need. The last common limitation here is the civil servant capabilities. Not only in the developing countries, even in the developed world, the public sector sometimes need to help from some expertise from outside their government body. So, if public sector have a lot of limitation like what I described before, why don't we give this responsible on public goods to the private sector? A sector that capitalize the market a lot more than the public sector and usually have better technology and human resource quality. Well, the private sector itself also have a problem when it comes to procurement the public goods. The first problem here is if we give this procurement to private sector, is obviously their motive. Unlike the public sector that put their motive to fulfill their duty or to serve the society, the private sector usually to put their motive on gaining more profit. This will going to be a problematic if they are in charge on providing public goods, because it can marginalize a lot of people that doesn't have an ability to pay for that goods or service that they need. This motive also creates another problem, which is the fear on financial risk. The private sector obviously doesn't want to provide goods or services on something that have a high financial risk and potentially doesn't benefit them at all. But if they are able to share this risk while still gaining a lot of profit, they probably will take a part in this kind of procurement. So, if is there any middle ways that we can facilitate the limitation of both sector? The answer is yes. The middle way here is to create a contractual partnership between both sectors on providing public goods or services. In Indonesia itself, this method is used in many projects, especially on one that classified as mega project like KCJB. This contractual partnership itself usually called as public-private partnership or PPP or triple P, which will be explained further by my friend Dyah Ayu.
Okay, I will explain about public-private partnership stage description. There are basically 3 stages for triple P scheme. The first one is planning. Planning includes project identification and preliminary study. The second one is preparation. It includes outline business case and final business case. And the last one is transaction, including tender preparation, pre-qualification, request for proposal, bidding war, triple P agreements, signing, and financial close. Now, I will explain about furthermore 3 stages for triple P scheme. Next, the first one is planning. It shall explain the plan of triple P form, plan of triple P financing, and the source of the triple P fund, and also plan of the triple P tenders, which consists of schedule, process, and procedure. Furthermore, it includes the first one is analysis of technical, economic, reasonable, public consultant, and a lot of data. The second one is compliance. Criteria include relating to the infrastructure sector and interreligion in Indonesia. The third is deciding factor of vehicle, criteria of value for money of business entity participation. Fourth, analysis of potential revenue and project fund scheme. Fiscal capability of central government, regional government, or fiscal capability of state-owned enterprise. The fifth one is recommendation and follow-up plan. Next, the second stage is preparation. The triple P preparation stage comprises the pre-feasibility study activities, which consists of the first one is preparation of outline business case or OBC, consisting of legal and institutional study, technical study, economic and commercial study, environmental and society study, study of cooperation form and structure in infrastructure provision, risk management study, study of government support and or government guarantee needs, and the last one is study of follow-up issues. The second one is preparation of final business case, which consists of the data adjustment based on the current condition and updates of the feasibility and readiness of the triple P's referred of the outline business case. Next, the last one at triple P stage is transaction. Transaction case is basically tendering process to find the private sector to be the winner and form a special purpose vehicle to build, operate, and maintain the project after construction. Next, KCJB funding use the issuance of bond by a consortium of state-owned enterprise or joint ventures, and consortium loans from state-owned enterprise or joint venture from financial institution, including foreign or multilateral finance institution. Okay, the last one is, did KCJB use triple P's for fundings? Did they?
In terms of KCJB project, we should know about the goals of this project. According to Safas, he mentioned that there are various goals regarding the privatization or triple P scheme in public sector. These goals are better government, less government, more business, and better society. In terms of KCJB project, it's supposed to achieve better government or to provide public service with cost effective and to make it cheaper, better, and faster. Then, based on findings, it revealed this project has been initiated since 2008, but there are problems and made the project is being suspended. First is about failure to reach an agreement between Indonesia and Japan. Second, there is no project budget post in APBN. And third, the project isn't one of the priority project of RPJMN of Indonesian government. And then China also proposed to continue the suspended project with the win-win solution agreement with Indonesia and China. The issuance of Presidential Regulation number 107 of 2015 is a legal form for this cooperation. The idea of the project is Indonesian government and represented by integrated state ownership enterprise named PT Pilar Sinergi BUMN Indonesia, which included PT Kereta Cepat Indonesia, PT Wijaya Karya, PT Jasa Marga, and PT Perkebunan Nusantara 8. While China is represented by China Railway International Co. Ltd. Based on the regulation, it mandated to create PT Kereta Cepat Indonesia China or PT KCJB, which it combined the state-owned enterprise from Indonesia and China. The form of cooperation can be explained as joint venture company with Indonesia and China, set ownership with the ownership rate of China is 40% and Indonesia is 60%. All the costs and expenses land on consortium, and China also proposed to use the local material with 58.6% and to create for 39,000 jobs for this project. And this project also engaged various ministries from the coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs, Ministry of State-Owned Enterprise, Ministry of Transportation, Ministry of Public Works and Public Housing, and Ministry of the Land and Spatial Planning. The ministries are responsible of monitoring and controlling of the project and handling the agreement process, business permission process, and operational process. This project is also engaging local government to adjust regional spatial planning with the KCJB project and land use permission in their region. So the next discussion is addressing of how could the project was suspended, and it will be explained by Dahayu.
So, KCJB, which was finally worked on by KCJB using B2B, initially required funds of 67 trillion rupiah. But now, this project is needed to swell around 81.96 trillion rupiah. Next, granting of fund for KCJB project was divided into several stages. The total loan fund for the first time disbursed by China Development Bank was 2.28 trillion rupiah. The fund for the first stage will be used to joint payments for China and Indonesian contractors. Furthermore, China Development Bank disbursed loan for 3.84 trillion rupiah at the second step. And 60% of the second loan disbursement will be allocated as a repayment for HSRCC. For the third loan, the Chinese Development Bank disbursed for 11.62 trillion rupiah, and at the fourth stage, CDB disbursed a loan of 15.54 trillion rupiah. In the process, the KCJB project was hampered and could not run optimally at the end of 2018. This was caused by the land acquisition process that had not been complete. Until January 2020, the progress of KCJB land acquisition has reached 99.95%, while the remaining complete land still requires complexity, approval of ownership status, and the changing data of purchased land. Next. But now, the construction of KCJB project has been delayed for 2 weeks, and it has been delayed from 2nd of March 2020 due to some conditions. In the letter from the Ministry of Railway, there are 6 mistakes were made by company. First, the construction of this project pays little attention to the operation of the Jakarta-Cikampek toll road. Secondly, the project management is not good enough. This can be seen from the accumulation of unused material on the left shoulder on the road. This condition can improve the bad function of drainage, cleanliness, and safety of toll road users. The third one is the development of the KCJB project because Indonesia to replace the logistics line. The fourth one is a poor drainage system. Next is that the LRT pillar construction that KCJB is working on some kilometers do not have a permission. And finally, the implementation of occupational health and safety, environmental safety, also community safety is not relevant with the existing regulations. So the final step of this video will be explained by Vanessa.
The government sees that the acceleration of infrastructure development is one of the capital in driving economic growth. Various efforts have been made by the government to provide good quality infrastructure, facilities and services through the establishment of regulatory framework and investment framework to increase the availability of infrastructure facilities and services. In a quality experience by the government due to limited financial capacity accompanied by high public needs for infrastructure availability will lead to the potential participation of the private sector in infrastructure development.
One of them is through the initiation of KCJB project development as a form of accelerating community mobilization in the context of the development of the two cities. During its implementation, the government has established bilateral cooperation with China in investing foreign investment to develop KCJB infrastructure projects. The Indonesian BUMN Consortium and the China Railways Consortium decided to work on the project with a business-to-business scheme. In this case, as a result of the financing scheme agreement, the KCJB strategic project was determined not to use APBN funds at all. This shows that the government does not play a role in the funding of the KCJB project, but rather only plays the role of regulator. Therefore, the government cannot guarantee the value of the construction and operation of the phase train caused by PT KCIJ as the actor who's responsible for the KCJB construction. When considering the sustainability of the KCJB development process, we see that the lack of the government's role in supervising and guiding development techniques is one of the causes of the various obstacles encountered. Therefore, we consider that the PPP mechanism or public-private partnership mechanism can actually be adopted in the development of the KCJB project. National-scale infrastructure projects can certainly be built using the budget from the APBN in terms of conventional finance resources. However, the absence of the KCJB project in the Government Development Plans of Indonesia or RPJMN resulted in the KCJB project requiring other sources of funding through the private sector. Specifically, the PPP scheme can certainly have a positive impact on the sustainability of project development because projects using of the PPP scheme in Indonesia are required to fulfill the requirements in the form of fulfilling environmental impact assessment or AMDAL. This certainly can predict the environmental impact of the KCJB project covering all stages of the work, not just the results of the analysis after the project is finished, such as the problems encountered in working on this KCJB project. Many types of PPP schemes can create a flexible and efficient form of government and private sector cooperation considering the division of work and responsibilities between stakeholders can create the highest quality of infrastructure also able to accommodate the needs of the community. Reflecting on this case, we advise the government to be more mature in planning the procurement of infrastructure in the transportation sector that can be included in the Government Development Plans of Indonesia or RPJMN so the government can contribute through APBN funding. Thus, a feasibility study is needed to starting from the planning stage, which includes project funding predictions. Through undertaking a feasibility study, the changes of developing an unsuccessful facility are minimized and the potential for efficiency is increased.
That's all from us.
Thank you for watching. See ya!
Semua tanganku tuh nggak panjang gitu.
Susah jadi selebgram.
Apa? Aduh, panjang lagi, judulnya panjang lagi. 2, 3.
Itu kan Universitas
Indonesia.